This stream and video is proudly brought to you by whatis.com. ZS is coming soon. We once again apologise for the temporary cancellation of the release of the ZS, but due to this virus and this situation, it must be done. There are far more important things to do, and that thing is to find this virus. This virus is killing too many people already. We currently have governments that don't want to do anything, aren't acting. A good example, the Australian government are not doing what they should be doing. And what we need to do, folks, is we need to truly lock down the world before any such thing actually takes any more lives. And to do that, we must seriously lock down the world. And the only way it will work is a complete global lockdown. Otherwise, we will get hit by a second wave, just like the SARS, the original SARS virus. But by locking down the earth for a 40-day period, we will find every single case of infection. Even for those ones out there, the emergency workers and everything like that, we will find those infections. Because like the doctors and nurses are going to have to be tested regularly. And they should be tested regularly. And if they get sick, they need to be isolated and no longer treat. The problem is, we have to protect our medical professionals. I've been so worried about my own GP, mainly to the fact that I couldn't get through to her the other day. For a few days, I couldn't get through to my GP. Anybody that watched the stream last night will know of this. The problem is that our doctors and our nurses, unless we flatten the curve ourselves, are just going to keep on getting overworked, and we're going to get to a stage where we'll not have enough ventilators for everybody, because once you have the coronavirus, there is a good chance, especially if you are in the high risk group like myself, that you could develop ARDS, acute respiratory distress syndrome. In other words, you will drown without even being in the water, because it will flood your lungs with fluid, it will flood your cells with fluid, and you will drown unless you are placed onto a respirator. Now, one of these steps is all about the respirators, and I'm once again telling all respirator companies to start bolstering your workforces, preparing these ventilators, because if we don't turn around and learn from the past, now polio epidemic is a good example of how people can come together and build stuff very fast to look after their people. We've done it in wartime, we've done it in dangerous times, i.e. like the polio epidemic, where we needed iron lungs to keep our children alive. One of my aunties was one of those people that was put into an iron lung to protect her. She still got symptoms and everything. She's now got a shorter leg than the other. But we saved these children. We can do it again. But the problem is with the coronavirus, we don't know where the virus is. In a hospital, it can be locked down and quarantined inside the hospital. But out here, every infected person can infect 2 people that they are in contact with, then again infect 2 more and infect 2 more, and it goes on, because the infected will keep on infecting the unaffected. So there is only one way to do it, and that is a complete global lockdown. We need to shut the virus off, give it no more chances to keep going. The 40-day lockdown is for one purpose and one purpose only: to find every infected person so they can be treated, because some of them do not know they are sick and they could still be infecting people right now. This is why I have been telling everybody to wear a mask. Now, there is a plan. I have written a plan. I've been planning this for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Now, this is the actual plan. I'm going to let the computer read it. There will be a break in between because I've only used the free version of this software and I've got to restart it again. So I do apologise for that. But people of the earth, and I'm talking to every single man, woman and child on the face of the earth, for 40 days and for 40 nights we are all going to need to stick to these lockdowns. I feel very sorry for those in apartments. You won't be able to leave your apartment. Those of us that have houses that have soil in their yards need to convert that soil and start planting it into vegetable gardens. Grow some food. If you are a rabbit breeder, grow some rabbits. If you are a farmer, keep on farming. Because at the end of this, we're going to need a great deal of food. We are going to have to resupply everybody, and we are going to have to restart the economy. And one of the other big things, we need to freeze all money, all debt, all mortgages, everything. And virtually declare it a freeze in time, as if money had never existed, and the main aim is just to get everybody healthy again. There is no other way to do this, folks. There really is not. If we leave it up to our governments, who have currently done absolutely nothing, and those governments out there that fail to act after they receive this plan, it will be sent to every single government. Because if they keep on treating us like numbers, and we're just going to wait until the curve flattens. Yeah, well, there'll be a few deaths. Unfortunately, there are still going to be a few deaths, but there will not be as many as if we do not act now. This needs to be enacted as quickly as possible. And whilst they are planning all the logistics to make it happen, and this should happen, I'm talking within weeks. I'm talking as soon as possible, a week if possible. But in that week, those ventilator companies out there need to start manufacturing these ventilators. Those factory workers should be considered one of the most important people in the world at the moment. They need to make these ventilators because you yourself could become sick. We need those ventilators to keep you alive. Some of these people in those particular factories are going to have to work through this thing. They are going to have to be kept separated from their families. Our emergency services for this 40-day period are going to have to be kept separated from their families so their families don't reinfect them or they reinfect it. But if they are in the situation where we know their household is clear, but the actual emergency services are going to have to be tested the whole way through this. They're going to have to take so many precautions, it's beyond a joke. So that if they do get sick, they go back straight down into lockdown, and their 40 days begins the moment they go down in lockdown. And they're going to have to make these sacrifices. We are going to have to make these sacrifices as well as a people. And the food production is going to be up to us. We can't just leave it up to the farmers. Everybody has a section of yard. Some of you may be able to grow summer vegetables. Some of you may only be able to grow winter vegetables. It doesn't mean that we can't do our part. Nothing wrong with winter vegetables. And if the farmers still keep up their work, when the time comes and we get out of this, that there will be enough food production done to resupply the world. Then we have to disinfect everything. And we will have to disinfect everything. They're doing it in China already. We are going to have to do the same. Every single infected country, every unaffected country that doesn't know they have it yet, will start seeing the cases and find those cases now, so the hospitals don't get overloaded. If we do not flatten the curve by the 1st of July, up to 60% of the world's population will be infected by the coronavirus. Up to 20% of the world's population could die. These are only predictions, yes, but they're based on past knowledge. But the problem is our governments aren't acting fast enough. They are putting our lives at risk. Now, I truly mean it, that I will never, ever stop until I see governments that do not act and stop this virus, because the measures they have taken so far have not worked in the past. People have died in the past because of their inaction. This time we need to act as one world. And if we don't act as one world, too many people are going to die. You could be the one that dies. Your brother could be the one that dies. Your mother could be the one that dies. I have to bury my mother tomorrow. So those of you out there, amongst the people of the earth, if you do not get together and you do not start acting like one world, we are virtually screwed, folks. And I mean we are virtually screwed, because we need to do this. And to those idiots out there that think this is a joke, it's not a joke. This is real. This is very real, folks. People are dying. As I said, my mother could be one of the dead. We don't know. We haven't been told yet. We need to stop this from happening any further. The plan will work, because by doing this, we will find every case. I spoke with my GP about it today. She said, yeah, okay, it would work, but we've got to get everybody to do it. And this is the only problem. It is us. We have to be willing for this to work. And there's still going to be little things we're doing for up to 6 months, but if we identify every case straight away, we will know exactly what is going on. We need to show everybody what is going on, because if they do not, we will die. And I'm very sorry, but we will die. We are the ones that face death because of this. And those of you that are currently coming in and trolling on my channel, yes, I know you're most probably just kids. You need to wake up to yourself. This is real, folks. People are dying. As I said, my mother could have possibly been one of the deaths. We don't know, because they're not telling us. But all I know, her body has been treated as if she was. She died over a week ago, well over a week ago. We do not get to see our mother until tomorrow. In other words, long enough for them to test the body, long enough for the virus on the body to die. So we the people have to act. This is not fear porn. This is the truth. And nothing but the truth. This is based on CDC figures and World Health Organization figures. And the graph clearly shows that by the 1st of July of this year, up to 60% of the population infected. And out of that, up to 20% may develop ARDS and die, because it's the ARDS that is killing everybody. What ARDS? It's pneumonia, and it gives you acute respiratory distress syndrome where you need a ventilator. So I'm going to read out the plan. I'm not actually going to read it, the computer will read it. Then I'm going to say goodbye for the evening and then upload this as a video to all the channels, because in the morning I have to say goodbye to my mother. And many others out there are going through this as well, and have to do what I'm going through tomorrow. And they're doing it at other times and other days when they finally get access to their parents or their children. It's not just killing the elderly anymore, folks. It's killing young people. It is killing everybody. And if you are, and I've got to call the people idiots that don't believe this is real. See, there's so many of you out there that are still thinking that it's a joke, wandering around and laughing about it even. The very fact that when you go shopping and you see shops shut, doors where you cannot go into the shop, they're bringing stuff to you outside the shop, tells you that this is real. The very fact that there's restrictions on how many people can be in public at any one time, these are the half-assed measures that the government has done. But the problem is, because those people are still out in public, the disease is spreading. I will give you one tip. The biggest petri dish of the lot is the vegetable department in your supermarket. Even the tin cans is one of the biggest petri dishes out there now, because there are so, you think about how many times you pick up an item and put it back on the shelf. But when it comes to fruit and veg, washing it may not get rid of the virus. If you consume it, it's in you. Once it's in you, you're gone. So we have to work out ways, i.e. Woolworths have to work out a way to control the vegetable department, where they have a masked and gloved employee serving the customers directly. There may be small queues in the vegetable department, but we have to limit how many people touch that food. And this is where community spread happens. If we do not do this, and everybody should be wearing gloves when they go. I actually found, I was lucky enough to score a box of gloves at Bunnings the other day. It was just sitting there as I was going out the checkout, because I had to buy a bit of plumbing. I had an emergency plumbing issue. As I'm going through the checkout, I just saw this box sitting on the table, because they've got tables in front of every checkout to keep you 1.5 metres from their staff. Now, I can only have 4 people in the aisle. And they were barbecue gloves. And I thought, well, yeah, I don't care if they're black. They've got to be better than nothing. God, they're that good. You can wash your hands before you go into the supermarket. Cover them up, wash your hands. While your hands are in them, you can clean the gloves after you do that. You can, and if you're really desperate for gloves, you can use them again. Just clean them before you use them again and dry them out. They're reusable. Barbecue gloves, they were absolutely brilliant, and you should use it. And unfortunately, 2 people have just made the shit list with me and will permanently be blocked from my channel, even if you are a subscriber. You troll my channel during this and you will be blocked forever. You'll never be able to comment on my videos again. Yes, I've had to dedicate my time to turning around and getting this message out about the coronavirus. I'm an artist and inventor and a very smart man. All I've done, I've looked at this logistically, I've looked at the time periods of the virus so that everybody knows that if we don't do this, we're all going to die. So I'm going to play the plan for you. As I said, I will be putting it up onto the channel so everybody can actually, if I can actually get my mouse, find out where my mouse is on the screen. There we go. So here we go. This is the plan. Then I'm going to say goodnight to all and unfortunately have to bury my mother tomorrow. And I hope none of you have to do what I have to do tomorrow.
40 days 40 night plan laid out for all to understand why should we lock down Earth and why it should be done as soon as possible. Why to stop as many deaths from this virus, i.e. acute respiratory distress syndrome, is what is killing us caused by virus, government roles during lockdown. Step 1. Get all ventilator companies to maximize production, like they have never done before. Whilst preparations are in process so we have them when needed, as even though we are locking down Earth, we are still going to need this one item the most to care for people who develop A.R.D.S from virus, and they will need them. Step 2. Declare martial law, all countries, no exception. It must be global event, or it won't work and we will get second wave, like doctors predict. Step 3. Bolster all ventilator companies and companies making new tests with educated and hard-working out-of-work people back into work. While preparations happen, including supplying them with tooling to do this as fast as they can. Step 4. Get new tests ready for testing after 40 days to make sure everyone showing signs is tested, if not all people of Earth, before their release from lockdown. Step 5. Mobilize all military, all healthy to make sure this happens and get them to distribute the ventilators and tests. Step 6. Declare the shutdown as freeze in time. All debt, all rents, and pays all money frozen during this event. As if the period in time does not exist, economy won't need the stimulus packages until after event. Very important step to protect economy. Step 7. Sequester all food needed to make this happen and distribute it to all. Don't forget the pets and working animals. Yes, that's right, government, to take what is needed to make sure we save Earth and feed our world population for 40 days 40 nights. And resupply households and people who have been found to have virus. Money will be useless during this time anyhow. Step 8. Prepare and supply all people with food, and ways to prepare food, and accommodations in your own countries so everyone is isolated. Step 9. Sequester any residence or building that is empty, only empty ones, and disinfect them that could be used to house all homeless, tourists, and mentally ill. We will need guards for some of these sections. Disinfect them, use tourist accommodations as well. We have enough in all countries. Step 10. Gather all homeless and tourists and mentally ill and get them into secure places for lockdown. All of them. 11. Get all food ready after event to resupply the ones that are held in lockdown longer, as they will be sick. 12. Lockdown world at same time. Police and all.
Sorry, these are the little things that I was telling you about. I will restart it.
Police and all emergency services and military to be ready for the roles they will play in the event. Apartments will need guards every floor. Houses home restriction to own yards. No further beyond. Police patrols everywhere in houses with soil yards to start growing food for resupply. No house to go beyond their fence lines. 13. Guards to monitor and general public to report all breaches they see during lockdown. All breaches to be dealt with after lockdown with heavy penalties for any breach during lockdown. 14. Upon testing of negative households to get straight into food production and distribution for sick, all must do their part to make this work. Money still invalid till after lockdown. Rents, mortgages, and debts invalid until all steps and healthy are able to start rebuilding economy. But first we must find all infected. Step 15. Start massive worldwide disinfectant program to make sure all workplaces are safe for return to work. Any workplace that has had employees test positive to have had virus. Special attention to these buildings, i.e. re-disinfect and test random places that employee touched before lockdown. Step 16. 1. Get workforce back into cleared businesses if owners have not tested positive or manager is able to take role to start businesses again. This is stage where stimulus packages are needed for restarting. And continue step 17. All breaches to be dealt with after lockdown with heavy penalties for any breach during lockdown. Step 18. All government leaders and officials who fail to act should be brought before Hague for trial of crimes against humanity. Last step. Restart Earth's economy.
That's how simple it is, folks. Basic steps. These steps can be taken, but it's us that are going to be one of the most important steps of the lot. We must stay in our apartments. We must stay in our yards, and if we have a yard, garden it. Grow some vegetables. Even in winter, people can grow vegetables. Down here in Australia, yeah, it's real easy to grow winter vegetables. We do it all the time. We can make the food that we are going to need afterwards. We are going to make sure we have ample food. Set aside some for yourself, yes, but also the stuff that you don't need, that can go into resupplying everybody else. G'day Greg, how are you? And by doing these steps, it's quite easy. But if we don't do it, folks, we are going to die. Now the problem is with the virus, it's got stages. It can stay on a surface for 16 days. So if someone actually is infected, they go into the household. They've touched things. Their family members now have a chance of capturing that virus. All they've got to do is touch that surface that they have either touched or they've coughed on. So they will be identified within the next 14 days. Now, if they haven't touched that surface for a few days and then they touch it, right, within the 16-day period, that person is still going to get sick within the 40 days. We will know where all the infected are, right? Because we have to get treatment to them so they don't develop ARDS. But we also must build these ventilators so that everybody is able to be placed on a ventilator. We did it during the great polio epidemic. We can do it again. We have to learn from our past, right? And our mistakes from the past, i.e. the Spanish flu, the great flu epidemics. So many people died. Well, unfortunately, by April, it's pretty much going to be almost double of what it is now. By May, it's going to be double that. And by July 1st, you may as well say it's plague proportions, because 60% of the world's population will be infected. Now think about this, folks. If it is the government doing it, and it is part of Agenda 21, we still need to lock down anyhow. Trust me, I am ready. Are you? Do you have enough food to feed your animals? And see, you still go out shopping until everything's locked down, but take extra precautions. Wear gloves while you shop. When you get home, clean every single piece of grocery that you buy. See, at the moment, you should be preparing and buying the foods that can be stored. Learn to rotate that food. Yes, our meals aren't going to be as fancy, and until lockdown, right, we have to make sure that we can survive. Now, this is to Woolworths and all the supermarkets. Anybody handling food, i.e. butchers, the grocers, whatever, need to be wearing masks. I'm sorry, but they do, to prevent them spreading any possible thing. Like if they even get hay fever from someone's thing and they don't know they got the virus yet, they could sneeze all over our food or over our tins or over our meat and infect a great deal more people. Now, there's also a lot of wonderful people out there. I was watching the news just before I came on. That's why I was a little bit late. A lady had made masks for the doctors and nurses. Right? There's so many things that we can do, but now, this is something we all need to do now. Everybody needs to go out and get a piece of material, 50 by 50 or 60 by 60 if you have a big head like me, and make a cowboy mask style mask. This is not just to protect you. This is to protect us. Everybody should be wearing a mask, and it's easy to make. Those of you out there that do not protect everybody else, it's a crying shame to see how many people are wandering around doing all these things that I have just said. And I've seen some people laugh at it. I really have. It's a crying shame to see how many people are just ignoring it. They don't think this is real. They think, yes, we have had too many false flags. And I am normally the first one to speak out about these, about false flags, but this one is not false. This one's real, folks. People are dying. My own mother may have been a victim of this virus. We don't know because they're not testing the dead. We don't know, but they are treating her as if she was. We should have been able to bury her straight away, but it's been 10 days. And we don't even get to see her until the funeral. It is going to be an open casket, yes, so we can see our mum and say goodbye. But it's going to be the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. So if we don't do this, folks, but you have to be prepared to do it. Talk to your doctor and ask your doctor, would this work? Do you want to know the first thing they will say is, yes, it could work, but we're going to have to get everybody to do it. See, this is why we need to spread the word. This is why every one of you need to copy this video and place it onto your channel. You will not get a copyright strike. Any video that I have said within that video that you have the right to copy it and re-upload it, but only the ones that have those words in it, you will not get a copyright strike. Because all you have to do is, if YouTube accidentally puts a copyright strike on you, you tell them that within the video there's permission for you to do so. That's why I put it in each video. But if you copy any of my other videos that I have not given you that permission, yes, I will see that you get a copyright strike on those videos, but not these ones about the coronavirus, all my cannabis protesting ones. These messages need to get out there. But the coronavirus one needs to get out there even more. People need to realise that this is very real. This is very scary, folks. And if we don't start acting like a human race for once, so many of us are going to die. As I said, you could be the one that dies. Your mum could be the one that dies. Your dad, your son, your daughter, your cousin, your best mate, your girlfriend could be the one that dies. We have to start taking these precautions ourselves. And please, guys, go and make a mask and wear it. If you own a bandana in Australia, wear it as a mask. It's not so much to protect you, it's to protect everybody else from the chance that you might sneeze and you might have the virus and don't know about it yet. We are going to have to be a nation of old-time cowboy robbers that look like robbers. Because of the simple fact we have to protect everybody from everybody. And when anybody has a cold and they're caught not having a mask, they should be charged. It should be made a crime. Because too many people get sick from these people that say, don't worry, it's just hay fever. Just hay fever, don't worry about it. And they've got a roaring cold or they've got the virus. They should be charged. I'm sorry, but they should be. You need to clean your phone. Everybody needs to clean their phone. I sanitize my phone every day. If it's been outside and comes back in this house, it gets cleaned. But people shouldn't be touching letting people touch their phone. You should be keeping control of your phone. And yes, you might be touching surfaces out there. That's why the phone is one of the things you should sanitize. I'm washing so much, and I hand wash, by the way, all of my clothes the moment I get home. They go into the washing. My bathtub hasn't seen anything but washing since this started. Cleanliness is a step. But that's steps we need to take, but the government needs to take these steps to make it happen. I have not met a person yet that is not willing to do this. There are, we've had a couple of trolls coming in, but 10 to 1, they're kids that are on the internet, like on these videos, and shouldn't be on them anyhow. So we have to do something, and if we don't do something, folks, our families could be the next ones dead. You could be the next one that is dead. You need to take this virus very seriously, because this virus will give you pneumonia, and then you will, good chance of you dying if you don't get the virus. And it's getting worse, and it's getting worse, and it's getting worse, and it's getting worse. Right, Greg has just put up, we've now got 803,463 that have got the virus. We have had 39,115 deaths. 174,629 have recovered. But look at how many have died. By July 1st, that percentage is going to be 60% of Earth's population. This is not an April Fool's joke. This is real, folks. This is very real. We need to protect everybody, and you need to keep your kids isolated. Stop taking your kids out into public. I am so shocked by some mothers. They're taking newborns out. They should be having those newborns protected. You can get food in. You are classified as vulnerable because of those little babies. Act like it. And I'm telling everybody out there to start acting like fucking adults and start taking protection. Wear a mask. Everybody should be wearing a mask, even if it's just material, because that's not just to protect us from the virus. That's there to protect everybody else from you. Because even talking, you spit. Why do you think presenters like me have spit guards in front of the microphone? So that the microphone doesn't get covered in spit. Have a look at your phone, for God's sake. Look at all the little droplets. This is a good thing. Everybody take out your mobile phone, hold it up, leave the light, don't touch it or anything like that to light up a light, and just have the black screen and look at all the little dots. Now, if you have the virus, every one of those little dots on that screen is the virus. Look at how many dots are on your phone. Serious, look at them. There are hundreds and thousands of them all over your phone. Your phone should be one of the things that is sanitized on a daily basis. We must turn around and do this, folks. 4 weeks is not enough to do it. 2 weeks is not enough to do it. Yes, we're isolating the people coming from overseas, but what if they're a carrier? They're not being tested. What if they're a carrier? They've still got the virus on them or in them, and they still can give it to other people. This is the problem. This is why we need to lock everybody down for 40 days, so they're no longer carriers. And they're going to hate me now. I must probably be the most hated person from all travellers. Every traveller should be locked down for 40 days the moment they get into the country. Every traveller coming from overseas, it should be 40 days, so the gestation period, because their luggage could still have the virus on it. Because they've spat and they've talked while they've been carrying their luggage. The virus could still be on there. Someone else might have spat and talked all over their luggage and then they've touched it. It might be 16 days before they actually touch it and then they get the virus. The lockdown for them should be 40 days and then they go back into the 40 days with all of us. And it's easy to do. Governments have done this in the past. The governments have fed the people in the past. It's easy. It happens in wartime. It's called rationing. But in this case, we need to be given the food beforehand. So that when we're locked down, yes, and there's a chance that some of us are still going to die. Notice I said some of us. Because if you've just bought anything from China and you've already got it, there's a chance that you might have it already. Because the virus can live on that surface, and it's now been proven that the virus can still, viable live samples of the virus have been taken off surfaces 17 days after. So we've lost one of the 10, well, as I said, when I planned this, I added a 10-day buffer. So that when it does happen, we have a buffer. 16 days for the surfaces. It'll be dead after 16 days, but if someone catches it, they can still spread it. And that's going to add and take away that buffer eventually. But by then, we will know that household is sick. But in unaffected households, we know they will be clean. We can get them back into the workforce so easy, it is beyond a joke, and I'm so sorry, guys. I haven't put my glasses on. I've got a brand new pair of glasses. And they were the wrong script, and I have to lean forward. These are for the reading, and I didn't get telly ones. So we need to do this, folks. If we don't do it, we all could die, and I'm very sorry to say this. I am not fear-mongering. I am not fear-porn. I'm just someone that's trying to get the reality of this situation in your heads, because it's very real. See, I'm old, and I've heard stories of the Great Depression. See, some of you are young and 20, and you've never had family that went through the Great Depression, or you didn't have family that went through the big floods and things like that. In times of disaster, people work together. And they learn these things, folks, and they learn and do something about it. But if we do not learn from the past, we are all doomed. And they say you learn by your mistakes. With the Spanish flu, yeah, they didn't take enough precautions. Too many people died. And if we don't do anything about it, yeah, people are going to die again. And I'm saying this to the government, I'm not joking. If you don't act now and try and stop this virus properly, and I'm talking to every government now, I will hound everybody, and I will hound the courts to make sure that yous are brought before the courts for crimes against humanity, for treating us as numbers and not doing anything about the virus. Yes, you're doing things, but you're doing half-ass things that are pretty much fucking useless. You're letting people go out and create petri dishes for the spread of the disease. Are you trying to kill us? And there is that possibility, folks, because Agenda 21 is fucking real. But all I know is this virus is real. It's taking lives. It's not just taken my mum's life. A friend of mine's mum has been taken. So it's real, folks. This virus is real. It's killing people. And there's no age. It's now been proven there's no age limit. Children, teenagers, young adults, middle-aged, people my age, and the elderly. I'm almost elderly. Yeah, just got 2 more years and I'm elderly. And we're vulnerable. And I did not fight for my life last year to turn around and be taken out by a virus. But we can stop it by finding it and isolating it in a hospital. That's what they do. They find where the virus is coming from and they isolate that person. Well, unfortunately, we have thousands of people out there. We actually have, 803,463 people that have been out there infecting everything else. Most probably, even if only they have only infected 2 people. That then becomes 1,600,000 plus. And if those people infect somebody, it doubles again and doubles again and doubles again. As I said, by July, the very 1st of July, 60% of the world's population will be infected if we do not act now and act fast. And yes, every government that doesn't act should be brought before The Hague. I thank you very much, everybody. I'm not going to say any more. I'm going to thank you, and thanks for all your patronage over the years on all my channels. Just in case something does happen to me. Because as I said, I'm one of the vulnerable. I've got to go out into public now, out to see my mum, who, if she is infected, I could touch the wrong surface, but I won't be touching surfaces. I'll be masked. I'll be sweating me guts up tomorrow. I'll be sweating everywhere. And so I'm staying away from everybody. I'll be sitting back and filming mum's service so that everybody can see the service, and we've got to share the service privately so that they can actually see and send mum off. And we've got it for when the wake happens. We've got to make the wake. The wake's going to have to wait until after this disaster is over. See, the rebuilding of it could take 6 months. It's still going to take 6 months or more to rebuild Earth. But at first we've got to find the virus to, one, take the pressure off our medical staff. And trust me, they're under pressure. I could see it in my doctor's face today. She's being called and by everybody. They now have to make sure their patients are looked after. They've got signs on their door. They're only letting one person in at a time. If you're out there, you've got to stand in the social distance thing. But at doctors, yeah, you're at risk. They know it, we know it. But every doctor that I have spoken to, and now I've actually spoken to quite a few, agree wholeheartedly that this will work. This will find every case of the virus. And if our government doesn't fucking act, you're not only going to be removed, I will see you before the courts for crimes against humanity. Because failing to act and killing more people just because we are a number is a crime. And you should be charged with it and held accountable for it, because you are the ones that are supposed to be looking after us and you are not. So those of you out there that agree with me, like the video. Those that don't, dislike the video. All of you out there that have been with me through this, thank you very much. And I do appreciate everything you guys have done for me. And I always have. You're my friends, some of you my confidants, and some of you mates. Some of you, yeah, my rock. One, like, yeah, in all the places I've been, it's always been my rock. Always corrects me when I'm screwing up. Yeah, always stomps on me. Yeah, so she's my rock. Never actually physically met the lady, but yeah, she pulls me into line when I get out of line. Great subscriber. She's one of my moderators, by the way, and she's tough too. So those of you out there, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and see that little bell being clicked down the bottom. When you subscribe, click that little bell, because if you don't click that little bell, folks, you'll never get notified of my videos. Some people say, oh, we don't get notified because they've never clicked that little bell. You've got to click the little bell. If you want to get notified of my videos, you must click that little bell. So if you're a subscriber and you yet haven't clicked that little bell on the subscribe, you need to unsubscribe and resubscribe, but this time click the little bell. I don't know if you can click it after you subscribed, I'm sorry, and I can't really read the chat, guys. As I said, I bought new glasses today, but I bought reading glasses but forgot to buy my TV glasses, which I need to actually do all this stuff. So thank you very much, everybody, and I'll see you all maybe tomorrow evening. I may not be in a good mood tomorrow, so I do apologize. You may not see me tomorrow. Thank you very much, and I shall see you all later.